I'm called the Irish Storyteller, and behind me is Powerscourt Townhouse, where there are lots of jewellers. And the reason I'm standing here is because I want to talk to you about the Claddagh ring today. Now, the Claddagh ring goes back to ancient Roman times. They had an old fede ring, it was called, which was two hands clasped together. And that basically symbolized faith. That would have been exchanged from one businessman to another after a contract to show, this contract is in faith. It sealed the deal, essentially. Moving along hundreds and hundreds of years, 1600s to Ireland, and you have a man from Claddagh in County Galway, a little fishing village called Richard Joyce. And he was on his way to the West Indies when the ship got taken by Barbary pirates. And he was brought back to Algeria and sold as a slave. But lucky for Richard, he wasn't sold to too bad an owner. It was actually a goldsmith who he was sold to. And the goldsmith obviously saw some skill in Richard, and he taught him the ways of goldsmithing. And Richard took this fede ring, this idea of the hands clasped, and we can only guess that maybe he was feeling sad. He had left his own sweetheart behind him in Claddagh. So maybe it was an expression of his loneliness, but he built on those hands clasped. He added in the heart for love and the crown for loyalty. And then he eventually was released in the late 1600s, went back to Claddagh, and it said his sweetheart hadn't moved on, thank God. She waited, she was a patient woman, and they married, and hopefully was happy ever after. We can only guess how that marriage went. And that's what we have, the Claddagh ring today. It's an important part of our heritage and our culture. It's passed from grandmother to mother. And it's not just women, by the way, guys. It's also the men that wear it. For example, 3 American presidents, JFK, Bill Clinton, and Ronald Reagan all wore Claddagh rings. Jim Morrison of The Doors, and my favorite actor, Daniel Day-Lewis, wears Claddagh ring. So it's not just for the ladies. And it was essentially a medieval Tinder, is the way I look at it, because on the left hand, if you wore the Claddagh ring and if the heart was facing towards your own heart, it means you're married. If it's facing away from your heart, it means you're engaged. If it's on the right hand and it's facing towards your body, it means you're in a relationship. But if it's facing away, it means you're open. You're open to meet up.